Well, hello. We are continuing our series on QuickBooks Online and how to do stuff, how to do things in QuickBooks Online. And we're going to keep it really basic because we are going to kind of bring some high-level concepts to you. We might get into some nitty-gritty, but overall, this is how to do stuff in QuickBooks Online. And I wanted to bring to you guys today the topic of the chart of accounts. Now, accountants get really excited about chart of accounts because we know how important it is and we know how much it can make our lives easy or the reporting that much better. But if you are not an accountant, you may have never actually looked at your chart of accounts before and thought, hey, I can do something about that. I can change it. I can make it better. What makes it better? You may have never even thought about it before, and that is okay. But what I want you to keep in mind, if you are a small business owner using financial statements or you're wanting to look at your financial information, I want you to think that the chart of accounts is going to help you get there. The chart of accounts is going to help you organize. Think about it like a filing system for your financial information. So the chart of accounts, which I get into, it doesn't really make a lot of sense that it's called that, but this is your filing system. This is your file folder names that we're putting on each file folder so that we can put expenses into it. And then at the end of the day, get data that comes out and reporting that will help us understand what's going on in our business that much clearer. I kind of find that exciting. So hopefully that's exciting to you. If this type of information is helpful to you and this is the stuff that you need to know, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the little bell so that you get notified when there's a new video. We try to do videos once a week over here. Please also like this video if it is helpful and leave any comments that you may have or questions or maybe video suggestions in the comment section below, because we are doing this series and we are going to be bringing lots of great videos to you on how to use QuickBooks Online and how to do stuff in it. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about chart of accounts. All right, welcome back to the sample company of QuickBooks Online, and today we're going to talk about the chart of accounts. So if you are an accounting person, you probably have heard the term chart of accounts before, but if you aren't and you're just trying to figure out what all of this accounting lingo is, a chart of accounts is really just the list of all the different buckets that you could put your money into when we're recording it for bookkeeping. So when I say buckets, what I'm meaning is basically the accounts, and I hate to use that word to describe the word, but when we are looking at, let's say, your report, so your profit and loss statement or your balance sheet, every single one of these line items is quote unquote an account. And some of them here are sort of bundled up so that you can see these accounts here roll up to this larger account. So these are considered sub-accounts of this account, and this is considered a sub-account of this account. So you can kind of roll them up and look at them in a different way. And all of these kind of roll up into income, for example. So these accounts, these line items, the chart of accounts is just a list. It's just a list of all of these. And the really good news is that it's extremely customizable. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And there's a reason that we customize our chart of accounts. And you can find the chart of accounts by going to accounting over here on the left. And then chart of accounts is the first tab. Reconcile is the second. You can find it right here on the chart of accounts, or you can just go straight here and go there. Okay. Keep in mind, you can have a certain number of accounts based on your QBO plan. You know, it'll alert you if you have too many accounts, but most of the time I try to make sure that people don't over account. You can have way too many accounts and it just can get really confusing. And I will share with you guys an example, sort of a standard that I like to see when I go in and I help a business and I'm trying to revamp their chart of accounts. Okay. So I actually will make a download available for you guys for free so you can kind of see an example of one that's done and it's nice and organized and not too detailed, but detailed enough. Okay. So when you first open up a QuickBooks account, it will give you a standard chart of accounts. And it will also, pretty much any accounting system that you have, it will probably sort of default you into a basic chart of accounts. So you're not going to have to add every single one of these when you first get started. They're going to give you a standard version. Since this is a sample company and this is a landscaping company, you can see here that they've added some very specific accounts. So landscaping services, job materials, and then they have these very specific income items added. So all of these have been customized for this sample company, for example. There's some things that just come very standard. Let's say like a checking and a savings account, accounts receivable, inventory asset, uncategorized assets, undeposited funds. A lot of these things just come sort of as is. And then you can either keep them or you can delete them. There are some things that QuickBooks will not let you delete. But if you did want to see, let's say, this Visa card, let's say you're not using it, if you wanted to make it inactive and get rid of it, you could. So there you go. I just inactivated a Visa account because I said, hey, that's something I set up, but it was an accident. I don't need that account. You can do that. Okay. If I needed to reactivate it, you can reactivate it. But right now, I'm just showing you sort of how you can customize some of this stuff. And the reason we customize chart of accounts is because every business is different, and we can affect how the P&L looks, how the profit and loss statement looks, if we change the chart of accounts. So we can also do things like organize it in a way where maybe we have our income line items in a certain order, and then we could have cost of goods sold line items in the same order. So we might be able to see, if we're selling a product that is maybe, say, t-shirts, we could put that as an income line item, and then t-shirt expense or cost of goods sold could also be in the same order. So it could just help us kind of organize and make sure that things are nice and clear and understandable on the P&L. Sometimes P&Ls just, they look messy. And so it's a way for us to organize and also make things easier on our eyes and easier to understand. So something to understand about QuickBooks Online is how they organize the chart of accounts. So the first thing it will look at is the type, and then the detail type, and then it will go by alphabetical order from there. There's a very standard order of a financial statement. Income comes first, and then expenses, and then other income, and then other expenses. And then the balance sheet is similar. You're going to have assets first, current assets, then long-term assets. Then you're going to have liabilities, current liabilities, long-term liabilities, and then equity. That's why they first look at type, and then they'll look at detail type in order to order what you'll see on the P&L or on the balance sheet. And then it will go by alphabetical order. So you've got the option of adding another way that you can order things, because I personally don't like all of my expenses, especially when you get into the expense category, that the expenses are in alphabetical order. To me, that just makes no sense. And so I will show you an example of that. Here we're in expenses, and so advertising is right next to automobile, which is right next to equipment rental, which is next to insurance, and then job expenses, and then legal and professional fees. And to me, this is just messy. Why would I want my accounting to be organized this way? It doesn't make a lot of sense. I want to see groups of things put together when I'm working on my chart of accounts. So I want to see, let's say, all of my office expenses in one place, and I want to see all my payroll expenses in one place. I don't want to have payroll taxes, because that's a P, show up in a different place than salaries and wages line item that's starts with an S. I just really don't like that. So QuickBooks does have a solution to fix that, and I want to show you guys how to do that. So you go up here to the gear icon, and then you can go to accounts and settings, and then we're going to go to advanced, and there's this section to edit the chart of accounts. You can click edit, and we are going to enable account numbers. Okay, so it was not enabled. I enabled it, and then we're going to go show account numbers. Okay, so now that we have this ability to show account numbers, I can go in, and this will become the default of how things will be ordered, the account number. Okay, so QuickBooks will still look at type and detail type, but it's going to look at number before it looks at the alphabetical order of name. So what that means is that if I go in here and I want to edit my checking account, let's say I am going to do number 1001, and then I'm going to save and close. And then let's say I have another checking account. But this is my main checking account. I want, that other one was just one that I don't use very much. Maybe I want to add my main checking account. I want this one to come first. I want this one to be 1001. Even if I put, let's see if we can mess it up. So I changed the order. I put main checking instead of just checking, but I made the number 1000 rather than 1001. Let's save and close and see what it does. Okay, so automatically it put it in order here. Let's go and see on our balance sheet what it looks like. All right, so you'll see now that this one is ahead of that one, okay? So the main checking, even though technically this C should come before M, we're going to default to the actual numbers. So what this means is that we can now order our income. You know, if we want to have design income come first, and then I want landscaping services, but maybe I want pest control services to be, you know, second in line. I can reorder all of these things, and that can be really helpful when it comes to just making the P&L a lot more readable and a lot more useful to management. And so what I want to show you now is an example of a chart of accounts, and this uses a standardized numbering system. So again, this is something that I am making available for free as a download. Grab a copy. This is not anything that is my proprietary information. This is just something that I've seen lots of business owners use, this type of sort of general code. I've seen some modifications on it in general, but overall, this is just kind of a numbering system that anybody can take and leverage and use for their own business. There's no right or wrong to this. It's just sort of generalized, and you will see this in practice in lots of different organizations, and some of them will have slightly different numbering systems, but this is something that I've seen to work pretty well, and this is what I use with most of my clients. So over here, this is an example of a chart of accounts, okay? So if you were to export chart of accounts out of QuickBooks Online, it looks something very similar to this. I've done a little bit of editing here, but it shows the account number, account name, type, detail type, and then any notes. I actually put these notes in here so they could be understood a little bit better. And then I've put just a general code of what I like to see over here. So I typically do assets in the 1000s, liabilities in the 2000s, equity accounts are in the 3000s, revenue are 4000s, cost of goods sold are 5,000, payroll I usually do 6,000, all other expenses 7,000, and then miscellaneous 8,000. I've seen lots of people do lots of different things with expenses. Maybe everything is in the 6,000s and just they don't use 7s or 8s at all. You know, again, this is totally customizable to what makes sense for you and your business. So for example, we would just organize as we see fit. So I would organize my balance sheet to say, okay, I want this bank account to show up first. So I'm going to make this a lower number than the next number, and then the next number. And when you have a bookkeeper and they're doing a lot of accounting, it can make the bookkeeping much quicker by knowing these numbers and doing it really quickly, especially if you do a lot of transactions towards cost of goods sold, for example. Just typing in a quick number rather than trying to go and search for the letters can be really helpful for your bookkeeping. And again, you can line up, let's say, for example, you can line up your sales with the cost of goods sold that matches. So service line number 1 matching up with service line number 1, and you can use a similar numbering system. This is just something, again, that I like to see, okay? But this is where, you can really get creative. You can think about what do you want to know coming out of the P&L, or what expenses would you like to see grouped together? So here I have all my payroll expenses grouped together, and then I have my banking interest and service charges together, and then I have insurance together, and then professional service fees together, office expenses all together, rent, repairs, maintenance, cleaning, office phone, cell phone, internet, all of these things make sense for them to be lumped together so that you could have a very good feel for how much your facilities are costing you. Office supplies and materials, postage, these are just, all of your travel all lumped together. And again, this is going to change for every single organization. So what I'm giving you here is just a super basic template that you can take and customize to your exact needs. All right, so definitely leverage the help. I've given you some best practices tips over here, but leverage this and give it to your bookkeeper, give it to your accountant, or work with a professional to help you if you feel like your chart of accounts or your financial statements just really aren't making sense, or it's not giving you the information you'd really like to see. It makes sense to maybe look at your chart of accounts and see how you can improve your overall reporting and ease of bookkeeping. All right, well, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. And then also grab a copy of your chart of accounts and use it how you see fit. Thank you. Bye.